I also want to tell you that despite the way I got to this podium, which was, I guess, rather dramatic, that a lifetime award may be a little bit premature. I'm not finished yet. I have told strangers that have seen me in the wheelchair since this happened about a month ago, when they point to me and then point to that and say, I say, rollerblading in Central Park. The truth is the cancer is now under control. That's the good news. But the bad news, I won't be appearing on Dancing with the Stars. But I will be dancing around my apartment and my office if Senator Schumer and his colleagues in the House and Senate pass a health care bill that does cover all those people who are currently uninsured. This illness has given me information that I just didn't have 11 years ago. Medicare is great, but there are ways to cut costs without affecting benefits. And yes, there is a way to cover people who are uninsured so that they don't have to call me up. And literally, I get calls from people around the country who have been diagnosed with multiple myeloma. And when they ask me what meds I'm taking to stay alive, they say to me, I can't afford it. That just is terribly unfair. So Chuck and Kirsten, thank you both for being here today, and thank you for, Chuck, for your leadership specifically on this health care issue in this committee. I am also pleased to see a table of my colleagues from Blank Rome here. And don't go away because I want to bring my daughter over to meet you in a little while. I lucked out several years ago when I was offered a job at Blank Rome. I started my professional career at the DA's office in Queens in 1974. Until that time, I was a stay-at-home mom for 13 years. I loved it. I love the DA's office. I really love the people I worked with, many of whom remain my friends today. I thought they were the best lawyers I could possibly be with and learn from. I feel that way about the lawyers from Blank Rome as well. I am pleased that the other bookend of my legal career balances well with the beginning of my career. My husband and I are carried away with this stuff. We're clients of Blank Rome as well, and will remain there when I leave the firm as a colleague. But I will do so knowing that I truly am working with some incredible lawyers, several of whom, as I mentioned, are here today, who have also become my friends. And speaking of friends and talent, this is an organization that celebrates democratic political women. We have heard from one of those political leaders here with us today. Senator Gillibrand is the next generation of can-do women who will make a difference for our children and our grandchildren. Kristen is also the kind of leader who doesn't forget the help she has gotten, and she will reach back to help those coming from behind. No doubt we are all going to be working for her election in 2010 and her re-election in 2012. And Governor, I want to tell you as well, I have to tell you, the appointment of Kirsten Gillibrand was most important to many of us in this state, and we are very, very grateful for that appointment. It is not only continuing the fact that we now have, another female senator, but it is also, in his remarks, it became painfully obvious that he is aware of how far we have yet to go. And it's great to hear that he is certainly aware of it and certainly is looking at the things that are important to women as he proceeds through his work as governor of the state of New York. So thank you, Governor, for being here as well. Despite the fact that the efforts and success of the Eleanor Legacy Committee have been spectacular over the last decade, and on a federal level, that of Emily's list as well, I keep complaining about the slow pace of women getting into powerful positions in government. I guess I am a bit impatient, and maybe I shouldn't be, because though we're nowhere close to the numbers in positions of power, and I look back to when I was first elected to Congress, and I hear about the 17 women in the Senate today, and it's not enough, U.S. Senate. But when I was elected to Congress, there was one woman in the United States Senate, Nancy Cassambell. And the House, there were 22 women in the entire House, and now look at the numbers we have in the 70s. Not good enough, but certainly an increase since 1978. And so I keep complaining about the slow pace of getting women into office and into powerful positions. And maybe I shouldn't be complaining as much, because though we're nowhere near close to where we should be in numbers and in positions of power, when we can cite a woman who ran an incredible campaign for president, when we can look with pride at a female Speaker of the House of Representatives, and if there was one thing that anybody had ever asked me years ago, will you ever see a woman president, I would say yes. And they said, a woman Speaker of the House of Representatives, I would say, what, are you kidding me? And there she is, Nancy Pelosi, pulling it all off. When we've had three female Secretaries of State in succession, and I have to tell you a little story. Madeline Albright stopped up to my house to drop me off one of those books of pins that she now has, and to chat a little bit last week. And so we were talking, and she said, her granddaughter had said to her at some point, what's the big deal about being Secretary of State, Grandma Maddie? And so Madeline was trying to tell, one female secretary. She said, but every Secretary of State is female. And just think, the child knows Madeline, Condoleezza Rice, and now Hillary Clinton. And of course, once again, we now have 2 women on the Supreme Court. There will be more. But I am delighted that Justice Sotomayor is there. She's one of us. And it is so great. It makes a significant point that when our political women leaders make it, they do it in style, and they are the best. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about the importance of electing women to office, but I also want you to understand why an award in Eleanor Roosevelt's name is important to me. I serve on the Board of Advisors of the Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt Institute. It is an organization dedicated to forming new generations of young people of the ideals and achievements of Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt, and to inspire the application of their spirit of optimism and innovation